Today, 25% of the world's industrial emissions are reported through the CDP system. And the extraordinary achievement of the A List companies is that they're achieving a 57% internal rate of return on emissions reductions investments. That's great business and good news for the companies, investors, and society at large.
Former US Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson is on record as describing climate change as the single biggest risk that exists in the economy today. Now, almost 200 of the world's major corporations have been identified as taking a leading role in combating climate change.
I think many businesses are waking up to the fact that they will have to take climate change seriously. First of all, because it is an important issue and public policy is going to respond to it, a higher carbon price and other forms of regulation. But also an increasing number are seeing that they can respond to that in a way which is also a business opportunity, a way to make more profit, an ability on the part of many businesses who spot the opportunity earlier to build business systems which put them at an advantage vis-a-vis the competitors who are slower to realise that.
Well, Unilever is taking action on climate change because regrettably the science is making it increasingly clear that this is one of, if not the greatest challenge that we as a civilization face on the planet in the 21st century. And the people that work at Unilever care about their children, care about the future, and so we feel an obligation to take this challenge on. As a business, it's also critically important to us because it impacts our business, it impacts the communities we serve, the consumers that we serve every day. And by taking action on it, by working hard to address climate change, we also see tremendous opportunity to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
A first of its kind, the A List, the CDP Climate Performance Leadership Index, reveals the listed companies around the world who are doing the most to combat climate change. The report, created by international NGO CDP, was produced at the request of over 700 institutional investors, who between them represent more than a third of the world's invested capital.
2,000 corporations have responded this year to their request for information on climate change, and they have been independently analysed against our scoring methodology, and from that we draw out these 187 companies who make up the Climate Performance Leadership Index, and they are the companies who are leading on climate change.
Climate change is a major issue for investors because it's one of those challenges that's just not priced. If we ignore it, we actually ignore the real challenge of what is value. Companies moving to a lower emission environment are clearly ahead of the curve in terms of recognizing the importance of dealing with what will sooner or later become a regulatory and legislated reality.
The report challenges the perception that reducing carbon emission impacts negatively on the bottom line.
And what's exciting is that this report debunks the myth that taking action on climate change may damage returns and profits. In fact, it does the opposite. And what we see is the companies who've been in the Climate Performance Leadership Index have outperformed financially against the Bloomberg World Index over the last 4 years by 9.6%.
Collectively, the companies on the A List, including BMW, Samsung and Unilever, have reduced their total emissions by 33 million metric tonnes in the past reporting year. Coca-Cola alone reduced emissions by 330,000 tonnes in 2013 and saved $20 million as a result. The CDP Climate Performance Leadership Index clearly demonstrates that a willingness to tackle climate change from an economic perspective is both good for the planet and makes sound business sense.
Looking ahead, we can see that for corporations, for investors, and for governments, there is a growing recognition that we are going to meet this challenge. We must deal with climate change. The leading companies show we can deal with climate change, and governments are coming together to show we will. And that is good news for everybody.